for joining us at the Swell Summit. Our next Swell speaker is Lekha. Lekha is a consultant at McKinsey & Company and a longtime Heartfulness practitioner and trainer based in Chicago, Illinois. Lekha began meditating at 15 in high school and continued her wellness journey throughout college at Duke University, graduate school at Northwestern University, and her consulting career. With a background in public policy and social impact, Lekha has had the privilege of serving as a strategic consultant to federal and state government agencies, the World Bank, UN, and various nonprofits. She also recently worked for the Obama Foundation, helping support the development of the Obama presidential career. Without any further ado, here is Lekha speaking about a heartfulness approach to service leadership.
Hi everyone, my name is Lekha, and I'm talking to you from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so excited to spend the next 20 minutes with you and to share a little bit about my journey to become a more heartful leader. I would love to get to know each of you, including where you are in your leadership journey. So following this talk, please feel free to fill out the conference Google form to get in touch. When I was a freshman in high school, a friend one day asked me to stay after school to join the Amnesty International Student Club. I had no idea what Amnesty was, but I soon found out it's a global nonprofit dedicated to ending human rights abuses. The club became more and more interesting, and soon after that first meeting, I began to spend an afternoon a week creating handwritten letters to government officials around the world to advocate for the release of political prisoners. I got more and more involved in the club, organizing booths to gain signatures on petitions, joining student marches in Chicago to end violence in Darfur, and inviting inspiring speakers who had fought global injustice themselves to speak to our student body. Then, my sophomore year, my social studies teacher had us watch a documentary titled Killing Fields. It depicted the unfathomable injustice and abuse of the Cambodian genocide. While I had learned about conflicts in theory, the storytelling in this documentary was stunning. In many ways, it changed my life. Here I was at a privileged public school in the suburbs of Chicago, spending my time figuring out my Facebook profile or cramming Jane Eyre before my English exam. But all over the world, there were so many incredibly compelling causes to fight for, structural problems to fix, and life experiences to empathize with. As a high schooler, I wanted to do something, anything, to make the world a better place. I wanted my life to matter, and I wanted to use my privilege to create change. In other words, I wanted to be a leader, but I had no idea where to begin, or how to balance these aspirations with traditional metrics of success, which for many of us is to go to a good college, to meet a life partner, and to have a successful career. Fast forward a few years. I was in college, and I decided to study public policy and international development to learn more about the topics that had piqued my interest in high school. I learned that the problems I wanted to help solve were complex, messy, and stubborn. I learned even the best laid plans and purest intentions can lead to unforeseen consequences, mistrust, and ultimately failure. So a few years after that, I decided I wanted to help tackle that complexity. I began a career as a consultant to help government agencies, World Bank, UN, and nonprofit organizations better meet their goals for a brighter future. That career has taken me across the country, and it's allowed me the honor to work with a range of inspirational leaders, from local nonprofit advocates to White House appointees, corporate C-suites to university provosts. I've helped mobilize companies to support the global refugee crisis, developed strategies to improve youth unemployment, and helped universities address increasing challenges they face in a COVID world. I've helped state and local governments better serve their residents. And along the way, these experiences have shaped my understanding of what it means to be a leader. Recently, I came across a concept that reflected that understanding and articulated it in a new way. It's called service leadership. The concept originated from an essay published by Robert Greenleaf titled "The Servant as Leader." Incidentally, he quoted young Hillary Rodham from her 1969 commencement while she was president of Wellesley College's student body. Robert combines the concept of a servant who builds trust and lifts people up and helps them grow with integrity and spirit, and a leader who is trusted and helps shape others' destinies by going out ahead to show them the way. When you put these two together, it's a philosophy grounded in empathy and connection. In essence, service leadership is not only rewards leaders for their selflessness, but it requires leaders to be servants to others first. The philosophy has benefited countless organizations to create a more just and caring world. Today, as many of us aspire to create a stronger, healthier, sustainable, and more loving world, I want to talk a little bit about how leadership manifests itself in different ways, and how heartfulness can be a key to unlocking our potential to be true service leaders. The leaders I am most inspired by create positive impact through any of three lenses, and oftentimes they dedicate their lives to multiple. Number one, service to their communities. Number two, service to each other as individuals. And number three, service to themselves. While service to ourselves might sound a little counterintuitive, I truly believe that this is the very foundation with which any other form of leadership must grow. Let's start with service to communities. In the United States, we just witnessed and participated in a momentous election. While politics and government can feel like worlds away from us, especially those of us who can't yet vote, it's one stage where we can observe and evaluate leadership qualities. Think a little bit about those change makers we most admire. Representative John Lewis, who led the civil rights movement. President Barack Obama, who broke barriers as the first African American president in a country riddled with systemic racism. Or Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was a force of nature and helped reimagine gender equality for our entire country. Take a couple of moments to reflect on what really makes these leaders our heroes. Their hard work? Yes. Their perseverance? Definitely. The impact that they had? Absolutely. But to me, what makes them unique leaders to admire is their unyielding service to their respective communities. This service is fueled both by their own lived experience, but it's also driven by their ability to empathize with those who've had different life experiences than their own. Justice Ginsburg did not need to personally know every single woman in the country to advocate for their seat at the table. While I don't know these heroes personally, what draws me to them is their ability to open up their hearts to others, to empathize, to create connection, and to act upon it. Next, let's turn to service to each other as individuals. Here, I'll use a more personal example. While I was in college, I decided to take some time off school to research economic development in the field. I traveled to India and spent 6 months interviewing women who lived in low-income or slum neighborhoods around the city of Chennai. I began my interviews like any proper researcher would, collecting data, noting demographics, running through my questions almost robotically. There was me with my American accent and my BlackBerry, and there were the women I was speaking to in thatched huts and small cement homes. We both shared brown skin, but I created an invisible wall between myself and them based on our differences. Then one day, I visited a woman who had agreed to speak with me in a new neighborhood. As usual, I told her about my research study and that her responses would be confidential. With the help of my translator, I started asking her basic questions about her family and what had brought them to the city from their village. She told me of how hard her family worked for their income and for the prospect of one day owning their own home. While she didn't have a formal education, she saved every rupee she could to invest in her children's education. As we continued talking, my invisible wall began to break down. I saw myself in her, and I'd like to think she saw herself in me. She told me new insights I hadn't heard from the other woman, about how alcoholism plagued the men in her neighborhood, that it ate up all the money she and others worked so hard to save up. She told me about the small joys in her life, seeing her kids learn in school, visiting her extended family for weddings and holidays. And I remembered my own small joys. I spent hours better understanding this woman's story. A few days later, I got a call from an unknown number. I was startled because none of the women I had spoken with had taken me up on my offer to give me a call after our interview. When I picked up, I heard this woman's voice I had met. And she asked me, no different from any other friend, how was I doing? With those simple words, I was washed over by emotion. After so many months of working on my own, talking to so many different people, that invisible wall had started to crumble, and I had built a genuine human connection. In the following months, I continued to spend hours learning more stories, building more authentic connections, and the more we could connect as humans through our hearts, the more gratifying this work was. And at the same time, those authentic connections helped me identify special insights that ultimately informed my thesis and my recommendations to one of Duke University's foremost leaders on international development. I share this story to say that our ability to serve one another, whether in our daily lives, at work, or around the globe, is fundamentally improved when we follow our hearts to create connection, rather than rely on our minds, which often put up heavy, unyielding, invisible walls. The last, but arguably most important of the three leadership lenses is service to ourselves. How do we protect our own wellness? True leaders know that their own physical, mental, and spiritual wellness is the best superpower they can have to serve others. For me, this superpower has manifested itself as Heartfulness Meditation. Heartfulness Meditation is a daily practice of self-awareness. It means spending some time regularly checking in with my heart and inviting in positive energy and light. The practice has provided me more perspective and clarity than I could gain from any education or life experience alone. I began Heartfulness Meditation when I was 15 in high school. I don't think that it's a coincidence that this happened at the same time I began searching for my leadership purpose. Through meditation, I was able to become more sensitive to my inner voice, to what drove me, to what moved me, and to what I wanted to spend more time doing. When I was working in India, meditation became a tool I used to maintain my mental health as I was grappling with the suffering I witnessed all around me. And throughout my 20s, I've consistently relied on my meditation practice to keep me afloat during the darkest moments in my life, including when I've lost loved ones or when I've faced fears of an uncertain future. Meditation empowered me to make decisions with my heart at critical junctures. What major should I pursue? Which job offer should I sign? What city do I want to move to? By being in regular contact with my inner self, I was better able to serve myself and thereby better able to serve others. I learned that self-care is not a nice to have or an extravagance, but an absolute requirement to become an empathetic, impactful, and inspiring leader. I needed to be connected to my own heart before I could connect with and serve other hearts around me. And that's exactly what a heartful approach to leadership means to me. It means that this investment and its hard work in my own wellness can have a positive ripple effect in helping improve the lives of others. So let's talk about you. Wherever you are in your leadership journey, I deeply believe being more connected to your heart can help you better serve yourself, serve others, and serve your communities. So to wrap up today, I'd like to spend a few minutes meditating with you. While I wish we could meet in person, I can't think of a better way for us to connect and to serve each other than to spend a little time meditating on our hearts. So this is how this will work. Please make sure you're sitting in a comfortable position. Take a deep breath and close your eyes. I'm going to walk us through a relaxation exercise, and then we'll spend a few minutes meditating on the light and love in our hearts. Let's begin. Gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. We'll start with the toes. Wiggle your toes and then allow them to relax. Allow the earth's energy to move up through your feet to your ankles, your calves, and your knees, allowing them to relax. Allow your thighs and your hips to relax. Ease any tension in your stomach muscles and relax your chest. Feel the tension melt away in your shoulders. And feel that same calming energy moving down your arms, relaxing them all the way to your fingertips. Release any tension in your lower back. Relax your upper back and your shoulder blades. Allow your neck muscles to relax. Release any tension in your jaw and your facial muscles. Gently turn your attention to your mind and allow it to be still. Now turn your attention to your heart. Feel a positive energy of light and love in your heart. Immerse yourself in this feeling, and we'll stay here for a few moments. Gently wiggle your toes, keeping your eyes closed. Bring yourself back to your current position. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like to learn more about Heartfulness Meditation, please download the Hearts app in your app store or check out heartfulnessinstitute.org. I wish you well in your journey to becoming a more heartful leader. Have a great rest of your day.